Well, good morning, guys. It's your old buddy Grandpa coming to you here from the spaceship Love, 9,000 feet high in the Rocky Mountain sky. And babies, that's where we fly. Hey, this morning I tried to get on the air, but my internet's been down all night. My neighbor's internet is down. I think the internet's down all over town. We're not having any luck at all this morning. It's a Monday morning, December 15. It's supposed to be in some people's book a turning day. Myself, I kind of tend towards the solstice. Another 5-6 days, then you're going to find some real swing, you know. This might be a big old energy shift today. This might not be, but every day is an energy shift. Every day is a change in this reality. Ho, 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 and away we go. Because Santa Claus is always giving you something good for Christmas. Always. You see, this Christmas holiday, babies, we took it on as an adventure quite some time ago. It was a way to keep our caring and sharing and loving side awake and alive at least once a year, you know, at least during one season of the year, so that the rest of the time we could be brutal and maniacal and, you know, waste each other away and all that stuff in this big old game we call life. Oh, shit, man. Babies, just come back to paradise. It's sitting there right there beneath your tree, babies. You know, understand that a lot of the stuff that goes on in this world is like but a shadow, a mere shadow of what we truthfully are, of what we as humanity can be. Yes, indeed, because that's what we are inside. It's been buried so deep in us that we thought it was gone forever. And that's a lonely fucking feeling, man. When you feel like it's gone and it ain't there, oh my God. This is what drives us to such, well, God, I hate to use that word again, but maniacal associations with one another. Y'all watched me go through one last summer. Wasn't that fun? God, I tell you, you know, the old lonely pill will catch up to you every now and then and manifest itself a little adventure. And babies, you know, maybe it's not the most perfect thing on earth, but it's sure worthy of a shot, you know. This Christmas holiday thing, man, you know, just a way of bringing us home to our hearts in these days, you know. Yeah, we remember the great prophets that go with it, Jesus and Santa Claus, for example. Funny how we turn names around and make up legends about people, when really they were just good folk like the rest of us, just trying to get by in this life and just trying to do what they were here to do. You know, it's, wow, quite an amazing tale, all of it. You know, I've told some of it in my little stories here on the Hazy Radio Network at the Coyote Medicine Show, our little audio book we're creating as we go along, just in little segments. And so maybe we'll just do another little segment this morning. Maybe that'll be my little Christmas gift to you all. The solstice gift, if you don't believe in Christmas, is okay. You don't have to believe in anything. Santa Claus loves you anyway, no matter which way you go. You know, and I am, for real, your Santa Claus, babies. You know, I'm not named that. I never carried that name ever that I know of in any lifetime. But babies, I am your Santa Claus. You know, and I've been Santa Claus all my life. I've always had a proclivity to that personality, that what it represents, the ho, 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 and away we go, and it's all jolly, and it's all good, and God, we love you, man, you know. And Christmas, of course, like most kids, that was one of my favorite times of the year when I was a little baby child. You know, just, oh, so much excitement built up, you know, around that old Christmas tree, and see what kind of tantalizing toys we get to play with this year. My parents were pretty reasonable about it, but God, we always had something. Always had something, you know. I hope you did too. I hope you always managed. You know, I've been through many Christmas holidays, you know, away from home and alone, you know. Well, at least I thought I was alone. Hell, never was. Baby, there was always angels there to accompany. One of my favorite stories, and maybe I should tell it today, is when I wound up, I was about 89 or 90, the winter of 89 or 90. I worked a gift show up in Portland and selling some T-shirts and some other wares. And Made a few bucks, you know. It wasn't a real prosperous year. It was kind of recessionary that year. Guy next to me made shit. Buku, he made bank. He had a little $2 bottle of hot sauce that'd just kill you. Great stuff. Oh my God. People just flocked to his table. Well, I got a little residual business out of that, so it helped me too, you know, so I'm not complaining. Man, he did about 3-4 times the money I did. Maybe 5 times the money I did in those same 2 weekends. But anyway, I wound up being a little bit short. So I went and worked another Christmas gift show in a mall, one that was like more like a store. It was the Christmas store. And I put my stuff in there, manned my little booth inside of that. There were several others. There were people there that painted oil paintings onto mirrors. Oh my God, they were gifted and beautiful people. And, you know, they made some good bucks on that. And, you know, it was a great Christmas gift, you know. Wow. People just love. You know, there's all kinds of little neat craftspeople there. So I had a good crowd around me. So it did make for some beneficial sales. You know, of course, I didn't make big bucks, but I made a few bucks, you know. And got myself through it. You know, it was one of the slowest Christmas seasons I'd ever seen, you know. And I was particularly working it this way that year because I thought, well, that's the way to be. Inside that, it's the Santa Claus thing. I can't resist Christmas. I always got to do that thing somehow. I love it way too much, you know. So there I am in Portland, Oregon, man, you know, and it's like raining on Christmas Eve as our show closes, Christmas Eve afternoon, you know, about 6 o'clock, you know. It's dark already because, you know, it's winter, man, and it's Portland. We're way north, you know. So it's dark out there, and it's raining and freezing, and it's a mess. People are sliding all over the place and sliding into each other, and it's a mess. So there's a motel across from this mall where I've been staying, and I managed to secure a room there. Boy, I was blessed to be able to do that, let me tell you, you know. And then I needed something to eat that night. And there wasn't anything open. You know, Christmas Eve, pretty much everything closes in this country. At least it used to. I don't know if it does anymore or not, but it used to. And so the only thing open really for food was a bar down the street. So, big deal. I'll go to the bar. I'm not proud, you know. I love bars. We party in some of those places. Some bars I want to stay out of course, but... You know, so down the street I go, slipping and sliding on this ice, walking. I wasn't driving anywhere that night. Let me tell you, there's like 3-inch coating of ice on everything. I mean, it was one of the nastiest old ice storms you ever seen. Misty Oregon rain, freezing like a son of a gun. You talk about treacherous. Oh, my God, you know. So I go down the street to this little bar, and you know, of course it would have to be, of course. It's what they call a titty bar. Let's just be real about it. And so that means the girls get naked up there and dance around and have a great time, you know, make some money. Dang. We're also money-oriented. So we go up there, and I'm looking for a little food, and I sit down, get me a beer, and, you know, get me a sandwich and some fries. It was pretty righteous food for a doggone topless bar. That was awesome, man, you know. And there's a young lady sitting at the bar, and I'm talking to her, you know, and she's just wearing street clothes. I had no idea she'd be like, you know, a dancer, you know. Well, she's not really. This was her Christmas treat to herself, I guess. But she'd arranged to become a dancer for the night because they knew it'd be light attendance, etc. And she just wanted the adventure of it, you know. So I didn't know that when I was talking to her. I just sitting there, you know, munching my food down, having beer, making conversation, and having a good time. She's kind of an intriguing little thing. You know, one of those blonde-haired, blue-eyed goddesses that just take your breath away when you see them, you know. Can't help it. It's my maleness coming forward. It's always been a tricky dynamic, this male and female thing for me, you know. Though I was married to my first wife for 30 years, we'd had an open relationship for like 28, 29 of those 30 years, somewhere in there, and I'd always had a girlfriend or two hanging around, and I was always real straight up and honest about it and always kept it out in the open. I didn't sneak around. I wasn't gonna, man. I just didn't believe in living like that, you know. I've always tried to be brutally honest, you know. Well, not brutally is probably the wrong word, but honest beyond anybody else's capabilities, you know. I just tried to kind of energetically set the example, you know, and even though nobody at all was looking at me and paying any attention at all, I was, and I was seeing it, so I was trying to be as honest in my life as I possibly could be and set the example for my kids and everybody else, you know. And here it is, Christmas Eve, and I'm all alone, and my old lady's down there. She's working some guest ranch somewhere, and so she's busy, and so it wouldn't have been much point in being home anyway, you know. And then my kids all gone, scattered. Well, there's only 2 of them, but scattered into their own little lives, and, you know, things have been, as you can imagine, topsy-turvy in our lives. So it's always been a little crazy because I was just this spiritual adventurer, this pioneer. I couldn't stop myself from the time I was tiny. I had to, like, progress, you know, one way or the other. I had all this idealism going on and all this beautiful truth happening, and I just needed to get there. So the goddess man plunked this girl right down there beside me on the bar there in Portland, Oregon, Christmas Eve. I think it was 1990, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure it was, you know, because it was just before they started that first Iraqi war. Oh, man, or as they were starting it or something. But anyway, I can't remember exactly, but I know it was some kind of action like that going on around us in the fringes of life, man. Whew. Rough stuff, babies. Rough stuff. I think we need a wake and bake in the midst of this story, don't you? Yeah. So let's get us a little wake and bake here. I make these long joints these days that are really, really good. Powerful stuff, man, you know, because it's all homegrown. Right here in Crestone, Colorado, where it's legal to be indulgent. And hey, D.C., don't take that shit from them Congress people. Tell them to F themselves and get yourself a righteous bag of weed and have a smoke in at the nation's capital. D.C., get smart about it. Yeah. Get in there with your bongs and your, you know, take your little pipes, so not your big ones, not your fancy ones. Take the ones that you can lose and it's no big deal, you know, and go have a big smoke in there. If you want me to join you, holler at me. I'll come join you, man. We'll have us a smoke in there on the Washington Monument. You know, we'll have some good times, man. Bring in a good spirit there if you want to. I'll fly back there for that or hitchhike back there or whatever I have to do if we get to, like, party down in the nation's capital. Why not? Why not change the energy of the place? If it needs changing, that is. Maybe it's already changed. Who knows? But if you want to do that, guys, I'll support you any way I can. I'll help you build it up. Do whatever I can do to help you guys be able to participate. Because you voted it in. These assholes got no business taking it away from you. You're the people. You're the power. They're the assholes. But now, that's a categorization. You understand we're all in the same boat together. And even though we seem to have all these tremendous difficulties and differences between us, like Crestone, Colorado here, oh my God, we're all the same heart at the center of our person. Each and every one of us is the same being. Even though we have a particular reflection coming through us as a personality, you know, as a part of that same being, but the same being is in all of us. And it's Santa Claus, and his 8 tiny reindeer, and Jesus, and Buddha, and Mohammed, and Joan of Arc, and Annie Oakley, and Calamity Jane, and Kit Carson, too. All of these people rolled up into one. You don't know who your real prophets are, man. You miss that sometimes. The legends get it wrong, man. Sometimes they assign, this person is a religious person, therefore we'll categorize them as spiritual, and we can base a whole religion on them, have a great time, you know. And this other person, well, they're a worthless barfly, and we'll just ignore them. And they're the ones that made all the change in the first place, you know. It's kind of like that, the Jose guy that you call Jesus, man, you know. That dude was like, you know, what was he? Like, just a dude trying to get by in this life. Set people free. He wasn't so spectacular. He was a little special because he had more energy and more awakening than most everybody. And yeah, he embodied that God presence. So did she. See, that's what you miss. They wrote that out of the book, man. There was female presence, and that's what it was based on, was the divine feminine. Feminine energy of life, that which can, with the innate and assistance to the masculine, of course, because we work together. But this is the very stuff that brings forward life, the mother of life, the mother heart inside of us all. Look at your navel, baby. It goes back to an original mother. You see, we're all in it together, you know. But we sure seem to pull apart a lot, don't we? In this dramatic world, shit. We're all going 5, 15 different directions at the same time. We just need to settle in our heart. What we need to do in D.C. is have a big old love-in and just let Pop be part of it, you know. Though we do love our MJ. And she does take you all the way to paradise, baby. That's her gift. And guys, oh man. Got a little weed down my throat there. That's what I get for rolling such good joints, huh? Ah, that's good stuff. Wake and bake time here on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network, baby. Even though we're not on the network right now, the internet's down. Oh well. That's what we get for partying here on this side of town, ain't it? Yep. Okay, we got our wake and bake underway. Paid our honor to everybody and fomented some civil revolution in Washington, D.C. Hell, we're doing pretty good so far this morning, ain't we? We ain't even on the air yet, baby. You'll get this later on YouTube, I reckon, because that's where I'll put it. Yeah. So there we are there in Portland, all, you know, iced in. Not snowed in, but iced in. Oh, it's nasty. You can't imagine those northwest ice storms, man. They're worse than Oklahoma. You know, Oklahoma's bad too. Well, I guess you can't say worse. They're about the same, but it's worse than Oklahoma because there's more people in Portland. You know what I mean? And so there's more potential for disaster, you know. I'm sure a few people had their own share of it that evening, but thank God I'd found a little refuge there in that little topless bar just up the street a couple blocks from my motel out there. It was out in southeastern Portland somewhere, Oregon, you know. US of A, of course, Turtle Island, which is what I prefer to call it. Because I don't like countries, and I don't like borders and boundaries, and I don't like restrictions of any sort. Do you? You see? We do what's reasonable here, but... So she and I were like sitting there bullshitting while I'm eating my din-din, and I mean, you know, I do this. I just pass the time of day with whoever's there. That's just my nature. That's probably yours too, baby. And we're just sitting there gabbing away, and next thing I know, she pops up and drops her drops her street clothes, and wow, she's getting up there to dance. She got a little costume on. I'm like, wow, how about that, you know? So since we already had a bit of a personal connection, I went over there. I mean, you know, shit. Hey, I'm a human being. I love it, man, you know. And wow. She and I had the most amazing time that night. I mean, it's hard to describe, but those of you who are dancers know what I'm talking about, because it does happen once in a while, and it's so damn beautiful when it does. But we had our moment. You know, it wasn't, you know, but it was heart to heart. That's what it was, you see. I'd been in a real inhibited stage. Everybody was. Through the 80s and Reagan and all that shit, you know. My God, you guys, you can't imagine how that was, you know. Here's this movie actor, you know, able to motivate people to be right-wing. It's like, oh, shit. Took everything away from us while promising to give us everything. Typical behavior of a politician, wouldn't you say? I'd say it was. So there we were, man. She's dancing, and she did 2 or 3 sets, a third set. I'll never forget it as long. I mean, I was out of there like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. It wasn't very late, kids. So, you know, it wasn't like we were there all night and there was this big long party going on between this and all this. No. But there was this awakening energy came through her and flowed into me that helped me set myself free from all of those inhibitions I'd acquired or that had come forward in the 80s. And quite naturally, right there dissolving away, as she unwrapped her package, I unwrapped mine inside. And oh my God, I set myself free. I got comfortable once again with my own self. I gave myself one hell of a Christmas present through the vehicle of this person, and she was so glad, just like the reindeers are happy to pull the sleigh. She was so glad to be the vehicle of delivery, man. It was awesome, man. And it was a very sweet and powerful moment. I mean, there was divine union there. You know, I can't describe it any further because I ain't going into mechanical details, you old horny old boogers. Keep it put away. Oh, no, don't really. I'm just kidding. But it was an amazing experience. You know, I went slipping and sliding back to my motel room thinking like, well, I would have liked to gone home with that little lady, but at the same time I knew that was impossible. That just wasn't, you know. And besides that, if it had happened that way, you know, because it really wasn't a right thing that way, but this way, heart to heart, you know, her exposing herself, me exposing myself in every bit as much, but in a different way, you know. It's just, I don't know how to describe it, guys, but there are very spiritual connections that you can develop with another human being, especially of the other gender, if you happen to be genderized, and I was then really genderized, but as genderized as they get, man. And I tell you, that was quite the enjoyable evening. So I'm going down there the sidewalk there, slipping and sliding. I got all this glow on from this heart connection that we made. And I mean, really, guys, it was heart to heart. There were people there harassing her, you know, because they knew her from work or wherever she, you know, apparently worked in a retail store somewhere or something. But this was one of her rare nights, you know, when she would do this. But wow, what a communion there was going on, you know. And I don't think I tipped her $5-10. I didn't have a lot of money, and like I said, I'd had a marginal season, but I'd done all right. You know, I could go home smiling and not frowning, so I was doing pretty good that way, you know. But oh my God, what an amazing, amazing evening! And I just had that glow with me, even though I had the loneliness of being away on Christmas Eve from my family, but there was no family to go home to. They're scattered already, man. So I guess the family was in my heart, and it was perfect, you know. And I slipped and slided, and I blessed that lady on my way back there, and thank you. And I thank the angels and everybody else, too. Because I was aware enough to know what was really going on behind the scenes, even when I can't see it all. I know how well orchestrated this life is. And that these moments don't just happen. That they're created of the ever-loving heart that lives in each and every one of us. And that the heart had decided it was time for me to begin turning a real corner then. Christmas has always been, and the solstice time and all that, has always been a change in time for me. I know it is for you too then, too, right? Yeah, you know, whether you believe it or not, who gives a shit? Beliefs are bullshit anyway. Nobody cares. Keep it to yourself. Go be what you're going to be and do what you got to do until you see that it's all through. Then you find something better to do. That's all. Big deal, you know. We can bless ourselves for all that we've been, and that's what I was doing that night. I was blessing myself for the inhibitions that I'd felt at some level, in some way, you know, even though I'm just sitting there glowing and flowing down the sidewalk like a slippery old icicle myself. Man, it was cold, too. Cold and that miserable drizzly rain coming down on you, just freeze your frickin'... I mean, you know, I had icicles in my whiskers when I got back to my room. That's how bad it was, you know. But I did get back to my room, and I did manage to settle down. God, of course I don't sleep a whole lot, never have, you know, I mean, well, not in the last 30 years or so anyway. I just got to this place where I didn't need, well, even before that, when I was trucking and working, sleep, what's that? I mean, I could do it, but I just didn't need a whole lot of it like other people did. Part of the reason why I could be such a successful trucker, because I could stay awake for hours and hours on end, man, you know. And I learned how to balance myself out and get myself just right. And when things were getting droopy towards daylight, I would pull over and take my 10-20 minute break. I mean, so what if you're 10-20 minutes late? Better to get there than not get there at all. And who cares about 10-20 minutes? You know what I mean? And I'd get my little cat nap. And that would keep me going. You know, that and a gallon or two of coffee. Boy, I drink way too much of that stuff, even still. And oh my God, when I woke, I know I've told this aspect of the story before, but here you go again. Oh my God, when I woke up in the morning, you know, in that room, must have been 7, 8 o'clock, because it's winter, it don't get daylight till, but here's old sun coming up over Mount Hood. The clouds have gone away, but oh my goodness, the ice is everywhere. It's like 6 inches thick. It's on trees. I mean, there's power cables down all over town, etc. It's a big old disastrous thing. And there's no traffic out there, etc. But there is all of these rainbows, kind of like my little Christmas tree back there behind me. There's all of these rainbow prisms hanging around. That's the first year I've had a Christmas tree in a long time, babies, you know. This one just came to me, so I decorated it up. Feels good in my little home. Makes me feel a little more like Santa Claus. And just like Santa Claus, I do deliver, babies. And I don't have to use your parents to do it either. I deliver, babies. I deliver good. And this is the awakening that we've all been waiting for. The time's at hand, and it's just, you know, it's real simple. And it's real sweet. You look for the dramatic and powerful, well, hell yeah. It's very dramatic and powerful. It really is, these moments of awakening. But at the same time, you just flow. You know, you just go. I mean, it happens and you hardly even notice it. Then you look back and say, wow, beautiful. I appreciate that. I love that. That's my life coming back to life. That's a glorious thing, and I'm glad to be able to be doing it, man. Shit. Awesome. You see what I mean, Jelly Bean? We give ourselves our own gifts, mainly. That's what I'd given myself that night. And here's the reward in the morning. A motel room, you know, we got windows facing east, and a motel room full of prisms. Little rainbows everywhere, all over my walls and ceiling, all over my skin. It was incredible, baby. There was rainbows everywhere. As that sun came up, the alignment was just right somehow. And as that sun come over Mount Hood, it goes through all of this icy shit in the trees and power lines and stuff, and reflects in on me and all the rest of the residents in them motel rooms, I reckon. But I know my room, it sure was I felt like I was living in a ball of rainbow energy, that I'd just become the basis of creation or something, you know what I mean? And of course, you know, I'm a little groggy and I need a little coffee, you know, so it's late enough, so I head on down to clean up a little bit and head on down to the motel office there, because I know nothing else is open. The bar's even closed down the street now. You don't get breakfast at bars very often, at least not in those anyway. Some places you do. They're 24/7. And they put out some pretty righteous food, too. I'm not bigoted about where I'll eat, you know, or where I'll hang out. I love it all, man. You know, as long as I'm getting along, nobody's harassing me too bad. Shoot, I'm loving it wherever I am, you know. But boy, that was one of the most divine blessings, that rainbow blessing of the morning sun. Boy, I tell you, on Christmas Day, how amazing it was, you know. And you could feel the peacefulness out there, because nobody could move around, you know, and there really wasn't any need to get up and get going, because it's over, babies, you know. Until that ice melts down a bit, you might as well just stay home, because you're just going to go hurt somebody or yourself if you get out there driving around. That's what everybody would do Christmas morning, probably unwrapping their packages one way or the other. You know what I mean. So I go down to unwrap mine a little bit more there in the motel office and have a cup of coffee, start BSing with the kid that's behind the desk. I mean, these people that work on holidays are kind of special people, you know. They know where their family is, and maybe they're forced, you know, but they know where their family is, and it's in the public that they deal with, you know, those that are working in public areas like that. And he and I, like, God, we developed a rapport. It's like he was a cousin to that girl that danced for me the night before. I mean, we were that tight, you know. We had a lot of good ideas, and we were talking about Christmas Day and the ice and the rainbows and everything, and you know, just the glow with the magic was just strong, you know, powerful that day. And then a few other stragglers came in, because again, there's no place to go but the motel office for a cup of coffee, and this guy's busy brewing pot after pot, and pretty soon there's like 30 people there from in the motel having coffee, and we got a gab session going like you wouldn't believe, and we're all like unifying like family, you know, because we already are. Many of the people that stayed there that night are people that worked that same little gift store I did over across the way there, you know. There was like maybe 10 or 12 of us there that had worked the show, besides everybody else that happened to be stuck on Christmas Eve traveling through or whatever. And wow. So somehow we managed to arrange it. You know, this one gentleman who'd been working one of the gift shows, and he'd had a real successful time. And he told this crowd of 30 people, it says, look, and he'd done a little investigating in the process while we're having, because this Gab Fest went on for 2-3 hours. It was maybe 9-10 o'clock in the morning probably before this started happening. But anyway, long story short, he'd done some inquiring and found out there was a Lions Cafe about 3 miles from us that was open and was serving a special Christmas dinner that day. And he says, darlings, if y'all want to come now, we can get on the trains running over there about 2 blocks away. The train's running, and we can go get on that and ride those 3 miles. It lands right by the Lions restaurant, and we'll go have ourselves Christmas dinner, and I'm buying for everybody. God, another present, another beautiful, beautiful day. And I tell you, it was one of the finest Christmas dinners, and these people were more family than family is. I tell you, we sat down just as a family would. We had all of our little differences just as a family would, but we found union in our meal time at that Lions Cafe there in southeastern Portland, and didn't have any trouble. The trains were running, just barely, but they were running, going slow, but they were running. And son of a gun, we could get back to the motel and everything. Well, we, of course, stuck there for another day because it didn't mean the ice wasn't melting in one day. It was, like I said, about 6 inches thick. It's amazing these trains were running at all. But, oh, that was just one of the little Christmases. Oh, and the end results were just, When I got home, I was so flowing with love. I mean, nobody could object to anything, and it was just, I kept that glow for weeks. You know, it did eventually die down a little, but I kept that glow for weeks, and it affected a lot of people, myself included, of course, because you know me, I'm a traveler, and that's what I was doing then. I had a little marketing company then as one of my in-betweener businesses, you know. It's quite successful. A little later on, and towards the spring of that year, I started making some real money, and then it all went away. You know, it just does that to me. I can't go only so far with it back in those days. I could only go so far with it. But at least for 2 or 3 years, I kept myself in tall cotton, running my own little marketing company. I'd gotten that good at it, man. You know what I'd found, and this Christmas was just a part of it. What I'd found is if I'm going to sell things, you know, if I'm going to promote things, etc., I don't listen to the bullshitters and all of their hyped up, you got to do this and you want to do that and you got to get people and you got to talk to them this way and then tell them this and then tell them that. And it's a formula. If you follow it, you'll be just right. Oh, it's all a bunch of horse shit, man, you know. Formulas don't only fit one person and they try to impose them on everybody. Well, some general formulas are cool, you know, but wow, this one that I developed was just me. My marketing company was just a way of bringing out my personality because, like I say, I've always tried to live as honest a life as I possibly could, you know. Doesn't mean I was always successful, but I tried, babies, and I was successful a good share of the time that way. And because of that, man, you know, it was like those rainbows shared everywhere, just spread all over the earth from that one quiet little moment in the morning of Christmas Day. Portland, Oregon, man. Pretty amazing stuff, you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Pretty amazing stuff. The whole communion of the family that developed there, everything, you know. And I made some fast friends, too, you know, friends for years after that. You know, and I still see them once in a while. You know how it is, people come, people go. Well, maybe you don't. In my life, it's a lot of that. People come, people go. And you just enjoy them while they're there. And set them free. You set yourself free by being honest. And that's what I've done for sales, man. I mean, you know, I hate the term sales. It sucks. That implies you got to pressure somebody into something, or that you're there to, you know. I look at myself as an accommodating vessel. On this hand, when I had my little marketing company, I had someone with a product that needed to get it out there so they could sell it and make a little money. On this hand, I had me and my vehicle and my phones and so forth. I even had a bag-top cell phone. One of them big old things in a bag cost me like $300 a month just to keep it alive. And I think my total bill's around $1,200, $1,500, something like that, because I did a lot of talking when I could. Up and down the West Coast end, the cell phones weren't working that great. You get them in Seattle, you get them in Portland, and maybe Eugene, you know, maybe Grants Pass, Medford, Ashland, you know. And you get down into California, which was basically my territory. I worked Seattle to San Diego, basically. That was my sales territory, marketing territory, let's say. But all these people had taught me just to be myself. You know, the more, when I'd gone through trainings and stuff before with some of these other squirrely companies, you know, it never fit me. I could never do that shit, you know. But I found, before I started this little marketing company, this is the principle I founded it on, was just be yourself. Just be who you are. And don't bullshit people. Don't lie to them, you know. Just treat them straight up. I never could lie to folks. Especially not in that industry. Oh my God, whatever you were selling, it was like, oh no. You know, either it's good or it's not. And if it's not, go find something else. There's plenty out there. There's plenty. And this is why the marketing company, because then I could be real flexible. If, you know, I'd love little manufacturers that were real creative and stuff, and I would rep their stuff, you know, and I'd make some money on it, man, you know, shit. Oh, Grandpa could have done right well there if I wouldn't have had all these other issues in the background that kind of slow things down. But I did learn how to be myself in that 2 or 3 years I spent doing that marketing company. You know, and traveling up and down the West Coast and treat myself right. I was staying in the good, well, I stay in my van sometimes, but mostly I was staying in the good hotels and eating the fine food and, you know, getting myself just a righteous life, having a good time, you know. Wow, just from being yourself. And that's what I discovered too, because people, if you just be yourself and you got a good product, people like you enough, they'll try it out. And if they like it, they'll just keep reordering from you. I mean, it's guaranteed business. Just be true to yourself. And then you're true to everyone else. And you're genuine with people. And they can feel it, you see. That's what I was developing then. And that's what that young girl on Christmas Eve helped me develop, was a genuineness. And an ability to be okay with all parts of yourself. No matter how conflicted they might have seemed in the past. They didn't have to stay that way. So that was the beginning of a real huge swing in my life, a 30-year swing that would bring me back to paradise, by giving me paradise in the midst of an ice storm, and teaching me even more of the familial connection, the family connection that we all share, which is much more than a connection. It's like the same heart exists in every one of us. And we've been taught like that each heart is so unique that there's one individual person that matches you, and so on and so forth, and, you know, the glory of love and bringing it together, that's supposed to be love, you know, creative love. But mostly it doesn't work that way, even though people go into it sincerely, well, at least some do. It doesn't always work that way. But what it does work is the beauty, the poetry of life. You get some very awesome moments, no matter who you're with. And babies, those are worth their weight in gold and silver and dynamite and everything else. They're valuable, in other words. But yet, they're just moments, just sweet moments of awakening. You know, if you can look at them that way, you'll never beat yourself up again for leaving anybody behind or letting them let you go, whatever. You know, however you went through your divorcing. You just have to remember what you did share, you know, and what was there, at least for a little while. Even if it only lasted 5-10 minutes, it was beautiful, man. We get those. Genuineness comes out of those kind of moments. If you can appreciate those moments, well, they'll bring up genuineness in you, babies, and you'll find yourself being straight up with folks and having a whole lot more fun and just being the life of the party. And you'll find yourself succeeding in any area you want to put your attention to. When I say succeeding, what I mean is getting what you need from it. Doesn't mean getting wealthy and, you know, becoming a billionaire and telling Bill Gates what to do. You probably should. Somebody's got to do it. Now we do that in our heart, right here, baby. We tell Bill Gates and everybody else what to do. You know, he's just another human dink like you and me. I mean, he's just another one that, he got lucky, yeah, and probably made some deals with the devil. Who cares? What you haven't realized yet is there one saint's another saint. I mean, you know, one is the other and the other is the same, you see. There are no separations. That's just the illusion we live in. But these are the ways you begin to find out, by finding your common connection with people who are, in your life, complete strangers. But of course, nobody is. We know them all. We've been together in many lives, all of us, man. We know each other. So the bulk of humanity, 7-10 billion, I'll bet you we've been around this pike so many times, most of us anyway. There's a whole new crew here now that comes from a very ancient and enlightened time that are really kind of like the inheritors of the earth, as I would say it, inheritors of the paradigm, inheritors of the heart, because that's what they carry with them, and they have done. And they were blessed in getting it over with real early, and now they come back to receive their natural reward for getting it over with real early. And see, we get our rewards through life. It ain't always money, babies. It ain't always love. I mean, relationship love. Sometimes it's just a good, warm feeling inside that you're okay. And that you can be all right no matter what the hell you've done or where the hell you've been or how the hell it happened to you. Babies, that, you know, you look back, you find lots you can appreciate. And then you find it right here in this moment, you see, because you can appreciate that. Well, obviously, while you're living it, that's the time to really appreciate it. So you go through life with an appreciative heart, and every day is Christmas, and every day you get a new present or two. Every day. I know that's how I live. Even when I just hang out in the shack here, do the winter hermitage thing, you know. It's like we're all together in it. You start to realize it, you start to love it, and life loves you and provides you with some mighty nice things. So that's my gift to you this morning as we proceed along without the Coyote Medicine Show this morning. But we'll be all right. I might make arrangements for another kind of internet that don't go down, I hope. I mean, like I say, I think the internet's down all over town. It's still down. I can see the little bing that tells me it's gone. So we'll be off the air today on Monday. But we'll be back Tuesday one way or another. If I have to go get a broadband connection, I'll do that. If that's what I got to do to keep this thing rocking, I might just do it. In fact, it's tempting. I'm going to investigate it today, one way or another. We'll figure it out. But babies, you know, we try to be reliable and be on the air as much as we can. 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. 7 a.m. Eastern Time till, what is that, noon Eastern Time. It's 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. here, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific, etc. GMT, let's see, what would that be? That's about noon to 5 in the good old UK. Tune in when you can, baby. Every day I share another little gift with you. Every day I share another little aspect of enlightenment. Well, you can call it enlightenment. I call it just like waking up. Yeah, another share of awakening. Yeah, because we're already enlightened. I can't share enlightenment because we're already light. But what I can share is awakening. You know, the key to your heart. Rock on, babies. And ho, 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 and a Merry Solstice Christmas, New Year's, and what else have we got going on? Abe Lincoln's birthday or something? I don't know. But anyway, bless you all, babies. And let's party our heart out, shall we? Bring it forward, babies. Live real and see if life doesn't become far more natural for you. Let go of the lies and the unlove that's supposed to be love. And put it behind you, man. Be the real love. Show folks how it's done. Let it flow through you, babies. This is your gift. This is my gift to you today. My personal gift to you today. As well as those of creation working through me and all those divine angels that help us implement so much. We're bound to become reacquainted with our family here in the next few weeks, the next few days even, you know. Certain people will blossom a little quicker than others, but like I say, out of the dregs of society come some of the greatest saints, etc. You'll be surprised where the underbelly is, too, man. It's just a lot of good surprises coming along, but they're not really surprises. We already know. So what they are is awakenings. Oh, I remember that now. Shoot, how'd I ever miss that? Like that. You see, and it just expands your heart and broadens your reality and makes you feel good about yourself, don't it? Love you, babies. Keep it rocking and rolling, will ya? Old Grandpa says so. And here's a little hug for you, too, babies. Well, hug yourself first, and then here's a little hug for you, too. Group hug, babies. We'll do a big group hug, just like we did there at the Lions Cafe as we departed from our Christmas dinner that day of the Great Ice Storm 1990 back there in Portland, Oregon. We all hugged together. Beautiful life when you find you're connected, isn't it?